Welcome to the Gentles of Bible. Before you close your eyes tonight, imagine a world where every worry becomes lighter with each breath, where the noise of the day fades away, and where the timeless stories of Scripture gently carry your heart into peaceful rest. What if the greatest bedtime stories ever told were not fairy tales, but true moments of faith, hope, and God's unfailing love? Tonight, you don't need to rush. You don't need to solve tomorrow's problems. You don't need to carry every burden by yourself. For the next hour, simply listen, allow God's Word to calm your mind, and let these peaceful Bible stories become a quiet place of rest for your soul. As your breathing slows, and your thoughts begin to settle, remember these beautiful words from Psalm 46. Be still, and know that I am God. Those words are not a command meant to create pressure. They are an invitation to rest, to trust, and to release every fear into God's loving hands. Perhaps today has been difficult. Maybe your heart feels tired. Maybe your mind keeps replaying conversations, unfinished tasks, or worries about tomorrow. Tonight you can set those things down. God has watched over you through every moment of this day. He remains faithful through every season. Long before you awakened this morning, He already knew every step you would take. And even now, while the world grows quieter, His loving presence surrounds you. Imagine yourself walking slowly through peaceful hills beneath a sky filled with countless stars. A soft breeze moves gently across the fields. The sounds of the day have disappeared. Only quiet remains. Each step feels lighter. Each breath becomes slower. And with every story tonight, may your heart remember one simple truth. God has always been with His people. Through storms, through deserts, through valleys, through joyful celebrations, through ordinary days, and through quiet nights like this one. His faithfulness never changes. As these stories unfold, allow yourself to picture every peaceful scene. Hear the gentle rustling of leaves, the flowing rivers, the whisper of the evening wind, the distant songs of birds settling into their nests, the calm glow of sunrise over ancient mountains, the quiet footsteps of faithful servants walking with God. There is no need to hurry through these moments. Tonight we will walk slowly. Every pause, every gentle word, is meant to help your heart grow still. Perhaps sleep will come softly before the stories are finished. That is perfectly all right. May God's peace remain with you whether you hear every word, or quietly drift into restful sleep. Now, let your shoulders relax. Allow every muscle to soften. Take one slow breath, and another. Rest comfortably. The story begins. Far from the noise of crowded cities, before kingdoms covered the earth, before mighty nations rose and fell, the world was still young. The Creator had formed the heavens with perfect wisdom. The stars stretched across the endless sky like brilliant diamonds. Great mountains reached toward heaven. Gentle rivers flowed through green valleys. Forests swayed peacefully beneath the wind. Every sunrise announced another beautiful day. Every sunset painted the skies with quiet colors. God looked upon everything He had made, and it was very good. Among all creation stood a beautiful garden unlike any place the world has ever known. The Garden of Eden. It was filled with peaceful streams that sparkled beneath the sunlight. Trees stretched high into the warm sky. Their branches overflowed with delicious fruit. Flowers of every color covered the fields. Gentle animals wandered without fear. Nothing was broken. Nothing was dangerous. Everything lived together in perfect harmony. At the center of this wonderful garden lived the first man, Adam. God had formed him from the dust of the earth. Then the Creator breathed life into him. That first breath was a beautiful gift, the breath of life. Imagine Adam opening his eyes for the very first time. The sunlight warming his face, the gentle breeze moving through the trees, birds singing joyful songs, fresh water flowing nearby. Everything around him reflected God's goodness. Adam was never alone. God walked with him. Can you imagine such peaceful moments? Walking slowly beside the Creator, hearing His gentle voice, learning about every flower, every river, every living creature. There was no fear, no sadness, only peace. Each day Adam cared for the garden. He named the animals one by one. Perhaps the lions approached calmly. Perhaps deer wandered gracefully nearby. Colorful birds flew overhead. Large elephants moved slowly across the fields. Tiny rabbits hopped quietly through soft grass. Every creature reflected God's creativity. Yet God lovingly saw something important. Although Adam lived in perfect surroundings, he needed companionship. So one peaceful evening, God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep. There was no fear in that sleep, only complete trust. While Adam rested, God performed his wonderful work. From Adam's side, he created Eve. When Adam awakened, he saw another person like himself. Someone who could walk beside him. Someone to share every sunrise, every conversation, every joyful moment. The first family had begun. Together they explored the beautiful garden. Perhaps they sat beside rivers watching fish glide through clear waters. Perhaps they rested beneath tall trees during the warm afternoons. Perhaps they admired brilliant sunsets while thanking God for another peaceful day. Everything around them reminded them of God's generous love. The garden provided everything they needed: fresh fruit, clean water, beautiful shade, joyful purpose. Most importantly, the presence of God Himself. As evening arrived, the air became cooler. Gentle breezes moved through the leaves. The sky slowly filled with stars. Imagine those peaceful nights. No city lights. No loud distractions. Only the beauty of creation reflecting its maker. Perhaps Adam and Eve looked upward with wonder. Every star shining as a reminder of God's endless power. Every constellation quietly declaring His glory. Their hearts must have been filled with gratitude. Life moved gently, without hurry, without fear, without anxiety. It is difficult for us to imagine such complete peace. Yet this beautiful beginning reminds us of something important. God created humanity for fellowship with Him. He delights in walking with His children. Even today, although the world has changed, His desire has not. He still invites every heart to come close, to rest, to trust, to walk with Him. As you continue listening tonight, allow this peaceful image of Eden to remain in your thoughts. A quiet garden, soft flowing rivers, gentle evening winds, the warmth of God's loving presence. Perhaps your breathing has already become slower. Perhaps your mind has begun releasing today's worries. That is exactly where these stories gently lead us. Not toward fear, but toward peace. Not toward noise, but toward quiet trust. As the days passed in Eden, the rhythms of creation remained beautifully steady. Morning light stretched gently across the hills. Birds welcomed each sunrise with joyful songs. Fresh dew sparkled upon every leaf. The rivers continued their peaceful journey through the garden. Everything reflected the order and care of the Creator. Adam and Eve learned something new each day. Every flower revealed God's artistry. Every creature displayed His wisdom. Even the changing seasons moved with gentle harmony. Nothing happened by accident. Everything belonged to God's perfect design. Sometimes we forget that same God still watches over our lives today. The one who cared for every tree in Eden cares for every detail of your life. The one who counted every star knows every thought resting in your heart tonight. The one who filled the garden with peace still offers His peace freely. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson from the beginning. Before there were kingdoms, before there were miracles, before prophets and kings, God simply desired His people to know Him, to trust Him, to rest in His love. And that invitation continues even now. As this peaceful story gently comes to a close, picture the quiet garden once more. Golden evening light rests upon the trees. The rivers softly flow. The animals peacefully settle for the night. Adam and Eve lift grateful hearts toward their Creator. everything grows wonderfully still. And as your own evening grows quieter, may that same peace gently settle over your heart. Allow every breath to become slower. Allow every worry to become smaller. Allow every anxious thought to fade into the background. For the God who watched over Eden is watching over you tonight. Rest peacefully in His care, for His love never sleeps. The quiet beauty of the garden continued with each gentle sunrise. Morning light stretched softly across the fields, touching every flower with warmth. The streams reflected the golden sky, and a peaceful breeze moved through the branches of the great trees. Everything in creation seemed to sing a silent song of praise to its Creator. Adam and Eve awoke each day with thankful hearts. They had no fear of tomorrow and no regrets about yesterday. They simply enjoyed the gift of another day in God's presence. Their lives moved at a peaceful pace, one that reminds us tonight to slow our own hearts and remember that God is never in a hurry. Perhaps they began their mornings by walking beside the rivers. Crystal clear water flowed over smooth stones, creating a soft and calming sound. Gentle animals drank from the streams without fear. Bright birds glided overhead, their songs filling the quiet air. Every corner of the garden reflected the wisdom and kindness of the One who had made it all. As you continue listening tonight, imagine yourself walking there with them. Feel the cool grass beneath your feet. Notice the fragrance of fresh flowers carried by the breeze. Hear the peaceful sounds of flowing water. Allow your breathing to become slower, matching the gentle rhythm of this beautiful place. The Garden of Eden was more than a home. It was a daily reminder of God's generous love. Every tree provided food. Every river brought life. Every sunrise declared His faithfulness once again. Among all the trees stood one that reminded Adam and Eve of something very important. God had lovingly given them freedom, but He had also given them one command. They could enjoy every tree in the garden except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This command was not given to limit their joy. It was given because true love always includes trust. God desired willing obedience from the people He loved. For many peaceful days, life continued in perfect harmony. Adam and Eve walked with God and delighted in His presence. They knew His voice. They trusted His goodness. Everything around them reflected peace. Yet one quiet day, something unexpected entered the garden. The serpent approached Eve with gentle words that sounded harmless at first. His questions were carefully chosen, planting small seeds of doubt. Did God really say? The question itself seemed simple, but behind it was an attempt to make Eve question the goodness of her Creator. How often do worries begin the same way? A single question, a single fearful thought, a single doubt that quietly grows if we continue listening. The serpent suggested that God was withholding something good. He made disobedience appear attractive. He spoke as though independence from God would bring greater happiness. Eve looked at the fruit. It appeared beautiful. It seemed desirable. For a moment, she focused more on what she did not have than on the countless blessings already surrounding her. Adam stood beside her. Together they chose to eat the fruit God had forbidden. In that quiet moment, everything changed. The peace they had always known was suddenly interrupted. For the first time, they experienced guilt. For the first time, fear entered human hearts. The closeness they had enjoyed with God was broken by disobedience. As evening came, they heard the familiar sound of the Lord walking in the garden. Before, they would have run joyfully toward Him. Now, they hid among the trees. Imagine the sadness of that moment. Not because God had stopped loving them, but because sin had caused them to pull away from the one who loved them most. Even then, God's first words revealed His heart. "Where are you?" The Creator already knew where Adam and Eve were. He was inviting them to come out of hiding, inviting them to return, inviting them to speak honestly. This gentle question still echoes through every generation. Whenever people wander, whenever hearts become heavy, whenever guilt feels overwhelming, God lovingly calls, "Where are you?" Not because He cannot find us, but because He longs for us to come back to Him. Adam and Eve stepped forward. They admitted what they had done. The consequences of sin would now affect the world. Life would become difficult. The ground would require hard work. Pain and sorrow would become part of human experience. Death would one day enter the world. These were heartbreaking changes. Yet even in this difficult moment, God's mercy quietly appeared. Before Adam and Eve left the garden, God made garments to cover them. It was a simple act of compassion. Even after they had disobeyed Him, He continued caring for them. His love had not disappeared. His mercy had not ended. From the very beginning, God revealed that although sin brings consequences, His compassion is greater than our failures. As Adam and Eve slowly walked beyond the garden, they surely looked back one last time. The river still flowed peacefully. The trees still stood beautifully beneath the sky. The evening breeze still moved gently through the leaves. The place had not changed, but their lives had. Still, they did not walk alone. God remained with them. His promises would continue. One day, through His perfect plan, He would bring redemption to the world. That promise began like a tiny seed, small enough to be overlooked, yet powerful enough to change history forever. Generations would come and go. Kings would rise. Prophets would speak. A Savior would eventually be born. God's plan of love had already begun. As you rest tonight, remember this comforting truth. Every person has made mistakes. Every heart has wandered at times. Yet God's desire has always been to restore, forgive, and bring His children close again. His mercy is older than your fears. His grace is stronger than your failures. His love reaches farther than your imagination. Now imagine the evening growing quiet once more. The stars slowly appear overhead. A cool breeze moves gently across the land. The sounds of the day fade into peaceful silence. Take a slow, comfortable breath. Then another. Allow every anxious thought to drift away like leaves floating upon a calm stream. The same God who sought Adam and Eve with compassion continues to seek every heart with the same gentle love. His voice is never harsh. His invitation is always filled with hope. Rest quietly in that truth tonight. The Lord who created the first peaceful garden is preparing an even greater home for those who trust Him. Until that day, He walks beside His people through every season, every sunrise, every valley, every quiet night. And even now, as sleep slowly draws near, His faithful presence surrounds you with perfect peace. As the years quietly passed, the world slowly changed. The peaceful rhythm that Adam and Eve had once known in the Garden of Eden became more difficult to find. Families grew, children were born, and generations began to fill the earth. Great valleys echoed with the sounds of daily life, rivers continued to wind through the land, and mountains stood faithfully beneath the endless sky. Yet the hearts of many people gradually drifted farther from their Creator. Still, God never stopped watching over His creation. Every sunrise remained a reminder of His faithfulness. Every gentle rain nourished the earth. Every field that produced grain spoke of His kindness. The seasons came and went with quiet consistency, each one reflecting the steady care of the One who holds all things together. Among the growing population of the earth lived a man whose heart remained devoted to God. His name was Noah. When others followed their own ways, Noah chose a different path. He walked faithfully with the Lord. His life was not perfect, but it was built upon trust and obedience. Imagine Noah in the quiet hours of early morning. Before the day's work began, perhaps he lifted his eyes toward the heavens, watching the first light gently spread across the horizon. The cool air carried the scent of fresh earth. Birds welcomed another day with peaceful songs. Everything around him reminded him that God's creation was still beautiful, even though the hearts of many people had become troubled. The Lord saw the condition of the world. Violence had spread across the land. People had forgotten His ways. Kindness had become rare. Selfishness had taken root. Yet in the midst of great darkness, Noah's faith shone like a small but steady lamp. God spoke to Noah with loving clarity. He told him that a great flood would come upon the earth. It would be unlike anything the world had ever experienced. But God also gave Noah a remarkable assignment. He was to build an enormous ark. Not a small fishing boat. Not a simple shelter. But a great vessel that would preserve life through the coming storm. Imagine Noah hearing those instructions. The sky above him was clear. The fields were peaceful. Nothing around him seemed to suggest such a great flood. Yet Noah trusted the voice of God more than what his eyes could see. Faith often begins that way. Not by understanding every detail, but by trusting the one who knows the future. Day after day, Noah began his work. The sound of wooden beams being shaped echoed gently across the hills. Strong timbers were carefully lifted into place. Each piece was measured with patience. Each beam became another quiet act of obedience. Perhaps neighbors watched from a distance. Some may have laughed. Others may have wondered why anyone would build such a large ark where there seemed to be no danger. Questions were likely whispered among the people. Why is Noah building this? What does he think will happen? Yet Noah continued. Not because everyone understood, but because God had spoken. His faithfulness was steady. Not rushed. Not anxious. Simply consistent. As the months became years, the ark slowly took shape. Its great wooden frame stood as a silent testimony of trust. Morning after morning, Noah returned to his work. Even when progress seemed slow, even when others doubted, he continued one faithful step at a time. There is something deeply peaceful about faithful obedience. It does not depend upon quick results. It simply continues trusting God through ordinary days. Perhaps that is a lesson for our own hearts tonight. Many of God's greatest works happen quietly. One faithful decision, one gentle prayer, one act of kindness, one day at a time. Eventually, the ark stood complete. Its massive structure reflected years of patient labor. Every board had been placed with care. Every room prepared according to God's instructions. Then something remarkable began to happen. Animals started arriving, not driven by human effort, but guided by the Creator Himself. Imagine that peaceful procession. Pairs of deer walking calmly together. Strong lions moving without fear. Gentle sheep. Majestic elephants. Colorful birds filling the sky. Small rabbits hopping quietly across the ground. Tiny insects finding their places. Every creature moved according to God's perfect plan. What an extraordinary sight it must have been. The Creator who had brought every living thing into existence was now preserving them through His loving care. Noah and his family welcomed them into the ark. There was no confusion beyond what God allowed. Only quiet obedience. Everything happened according to His perfect timing. When all was ready, Noah, his wife, his sons, and their wives entered the ark. Then Scripture tells us something beautiful. The Lord Himself shut the door. What a comforting picture. Noah's safety did not depend upon his own strength. It rested in God's protection. Outside, dark clouds slowly gathered. The wind became stronger. The air grew heavy. Then gentle drops of rain began to fall. At first, perhaps they seemed ordinary. But soon the rain became steady. Then stronger. The rivers overflowed. Streams became rushing waters. The fountains of the deep burst forth. Water covered the valleys. Then the hills. Eventually even the mountains disappeared beneath the flood. Inside the ark, however, there was safety. The storm outside was powerful. The waves lifted the great vessel upon the waters. Rain continued day after day. The sound of falling water surrounded them constantly. Yet within the ark, God faithfully preserved every life He had promised to protect. Imagine Noah during those long days. Perhaps he listened to the rain striking the roof. Perhaps he cared for the animals with gentle patience. Perhaps in quiet moments he offered prayers of gratitude, trusting that even though the storm continued, God remained completely in control. Sometimes our own lives feel like that ark. Storms surround us. Questions remain unanswered. The future cannot yet be seen. Yet God's presence becomes our place of safety. Not because every difficulty disappears, but because He remains faithful through every wave. The ark floated peacefully upon waters that covered the earth. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Still, God had not forgotten Noah. One of the most comforting verses in Scripture quietly says, God remembered Noah. Those words do not mean God had forgotten him. Rather, they remind us that God's covenant love remained active. His promises never fade. His care never grows weary. Even when the storm seems long. Even when answers take time. Even when life feels uncertain. God remembers His people. At last, the rain stopped. The skies slowly cleared. The wind became gentle once again. The waters gradually began to recede. The ark eventually came to rest upon the mountains of Ararat. For the first time in many months, stillness returned. Imagine the peaceful silence after such a long storm. Fresh air moved through the mountains. Clouds drifted slowly across the blue sky. The world waited quietly for a new beginning. Noah opened a window. A cool breeze entered the ark. The sounds of birds filled the clean morning air. Hope quietly returned. The storm had passed. The God who had guided Noah through every frightening wave had brought him safely to the other side. As you continue resting tonight, let this gentle truth settle into your heart. Every storm has its season. Every night eventually welcomes the dawn. The God who carried Noah through the flood continues to carry His people today. His timing is always perfect. His promises remain unshaken. And His peace is available even in the middle of life's greatest storms. So breathe slowly. Rest comfortably. Allow your thoughts to become still like calm waters beneath a quiet sunrise. The faithful God who watched over Noah is watching over you tonight. His hands are steady. His love never changes. And His presence remains a safe place where every weary soul can find peaceful rest. The morning after the great flood was unlike any morning the world had ever known. The rain had ended. The skies were clear once again. Soft sunlight rested upon the mountain peaks, warming the earth after many long months of clouds and storms. Fresh air drifted gently through the valleys, carrying the clean scent of rain-washed forests. Birds circled quietly above the ark, their songs filling the peaceful silence. Everything felt calm. Everything felt new. Noah stood at the doorway of the ark and looked across the landscape before him. The waters had continued to recede, revealing hills, valleys, and fields that would soon become full of life again. Every breath reminded him of God's faithful protection. Imagine standing beside Noah in that quiet moment. The storm was finally behind him. The waiting was over. The uncertainty had passed. Only gratitude filled his heart. God gently instructed Noah and his family to leave the ark. One by one they stepped onto the fresh earth. The animals followed peacefully. Large creatures walked slowly across the land. Small animals disappeared into the grasses. Birds stretched their wings and flew freely into the bright blue sky. Life was beginning again. The earth seemed wonderfully quiet, almost as if creation itself was taking a slow, peaceful breath after the long storm. The first thing Noah chose to do was not build a home. He did not plant crops. He did not begin making plans for the future. Instead, he worshipped. He built an altar to the Lord. His first response was gratitude. How beautiful it is when thankful hearts remember the one who carried them through difficult seasons. Perhaps tonight you can quietly remember moments when God carried you through storms you never thought would end. Some storms arrive with loud troubles. Others remain hidden inside the heart. Yet the Lord walks faithfully beside His people through every one of them. As the gentle smoke from Noah's offering rose toward heaven, God made a beautiful promise. Never again would He destroy the whole earth with a flood. It was a promise filled with mercy. A promise rooted in His everlasting faithfulness. Then God placed a sign of that promise in the sky. A rainbow. Imagine gentle clouds slowly moving across the heavens after the rain. Sunlight shines through tiny drops of water. Brilliant colors stretch across the sky from one horizon to the other. Soft shades of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. A peaceful reminder that God's promises never fail. Even today, whenever a rainbow appears after rain, countless hearts pause for just a moment to admire its beauty. For many, it quietly reminds them that God's mercy continues from generation to generation. The seasons returned. Spring brought fresh blossoms. Summer warmed the fields. Autumn covered the trees with golden colors. Winter allowed the earth to rest before new life appeared once again. God had established the rhythm of creation. Day followed night. Morning followed evening. One season gently gave way to the next. Everything moved according to His perfect wisdom. Years passed quietly. Families continued to grow. Children laughed as they played beneath wide open skies. Parents taught their sons and daughters about the Creator who had preserved life through the flood. Stories of God's faithfulness were shared around evening fires. Grandparents remembered His goodness. Parents repeated His promises. Children listened with wonder. Generation after generation, God's love continued to guide His people. As time moved forward, people gradually spread across the earth. They discovered fertile valleys where rivers flowed gently. They climbed peaceful hills overlooking wide landscapes. Some built homes near forests. Others settled beside quiet streams. Life slowly filled the world again. Yet as families grew larger and communities became stronger, another lesson quietly unfolded. People once again began trusting their own strength more than God's wisdom. In one place, many gathered together and said to one another, "Let us build a city." Their plans continued to grow. Then they decided to build a tower reaching high into the heavens. They wanted their own greatness to be remembered. They desired recognition, fame, power. Instead of honoring the one who had given them life, they focused upon themselves. Imagine the sound of many workers shaping bricks beneath the warm sun. Voices filled the air. Stone upon stone. Brick upon brick. The tower slowly grew taller. To human eyes, it appeared impressive. Yet compared to the greatness of God, even the tallest tower remained incredibly small. The Lord lovingly stepped into the situation. He saw that pride was beginning to guide human hearts. Not because building itself was wrong, but because the people desired glory for themselves instead of honoring their Creator. In His wisdom, God confused their languages. Suddenly people could no longer understand one another as they once had. Simple conversations became difficult. Instructions were misunderstood. The work gradually stopped. Families gathered with those who spoke the same language and eventually spread throughout the earth. Although this may seem like a surprising event, even here we can see God's loving guidance. Sometimes He allows our plans to change so His greater purpose can unfold. Often we only understand His wisdom much later. How many times has life taken an unexpected turn, only for us to later discover that God was quietly leading us towards something better? His ways remain higher than ours. His understanding reaches beyond what we can see. His timing is always perfect. As evening settles over the earth once more, imagine the people gradually leaving the unfinished tower behind. The noise fades. The tools become still. The winds gently move across the open plains. Stars slowly begin appearing overhead. The same stars that Abraham will one day count. The same stars David will admire as a shepherd boy. The same heavens that still declare God's glory tonight. Everything grows peaceful again. The world becomes quiet beneath the gentle light of the moon. Soft breezes whisper through the trees. The rivers continue their patient journey toward the sea. God remains faithful. He has guided humanity from the beginning. Through gardens. Through storms. Through fresh beginnings. Through changing generations. And He continues guiding every life that chooses to trust Him. Perhaps your own journey has included unexpected changes. Perhaps some chapters have been joyful, others difficult, some filled with waiting, others filled with celebration. Yet through every season, God has remained the same. His love has never changed. His promises have never weakened. His compassion has never faded. As your breathing becomes slower tonight, allow your thoughts to rest upon this simple truth. The God who painted the rainbow across the heavens still watches over His children. The God who calmed the earth after the flood still brings peace to anxious hearts. The God who gently redirected nations continues to lovingly guide every step of those who trust Him. Rest quietly beneath His faithful care. The night is peaceful. The air is still. His presence surrounds you. And as your eyes grow heavier, may His everlasting peace gently carry you into deep and refreshing sleep. The night has grown wonderfully quiet. The stars shine softly across the heavens, just as they have since the beginning of creation. A gentle breeze moves through the trees. The rivers continue their peaceful journey, never rushing, always flowing according to the path their Creator has given them. As the earth rests beneath the calm light of the moon, our story gently moves forward to another faithful servant of God. Many generations after Noah, there lived a man named Abraham. He lived in a world where many people had forgotten the true God. They placed their trust in things they had made with their own hands. But Abraham listened for the quiet voice of the Lord. One peaceful day, God spoke to him with words that would change history forever. "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." Imagine hearing those words. No detailed map. No explanation of every step. Only a promise. Yet Abraham trusted. Sometimes faith is simply taking one peaceful step while God lovingly reveals the next. Abraham gathered his family. He packed his belongings. His servants prepared the animals. The tents were folded carefully. Then, with quiet confidence, they began their journey. Picture the long caravan moving slowly across wide open plains. Camels walked steadily beneath the morning sun. Sheep grazed quietly whenever they paused to rest. Children laughed together around evening campfires. The stars became their familiar companions each night. Abraham often lifted his eyes toward those countless stars. One evening, God brought him outside his tent. The sky above was perfectly clear. Millions upon millions of stars filled the heavens. God gently said, "Look toward heaven and count the stars. If indeed you can count them, so shall your descendants be." Abraham looked upward in wonder. It was impossible to count them all. Yet he believed God's promise. Years passed. The promise seemed delayed. Abraham grew older. Sarah also grew older. Still, they continued trusting. God's promises are never forgotten. His timing is always perfect. At last, when it seemed impossible by human understanding, Sarah gave birth to a son. His name was Isaac. Their laughter filled the camp. Their hearts overflowed with gratitude. The child they had waited for so patiently had finally arrived. How gently God teaches us that waiting is never wasted when it is placed in His hands. Isaac grew strong beneath Abraham's loving care. Together they walked through peaceful fields. They cared for their flocks. They watched beautiful sunsets spread across the hills. Every ordinary day became another quiet reminder of God's faithfulness. One day, God tested Abraham's faith in a way that was difficult to understand. He instructed Abraham to travel to a mountain with Isaac. Although Abraham could not fully understand, he trusted the goodness of God. Early the next morning, father and son began their journey. The path climbed slowly through quiet hills. Birds greeted the sunrise. Gentle winds moved through the trees. Isaac walked beside his father with complete trust. When they reached the mountain, Abraham prepared an altar. At that very moment, the Lord called out to him, "Abraham, do not lay a hand on the boy." Nearby, God had already provided a ram for the offering. Once again, God proved Himself faithful. He had never intended to take away the promised son. Instead, He revealed that He Himself provides. Abraham named that place, "The Lord will provide." What comforting words to carry into sleep tonight. The Lord will provide. Not always in the way we expect. Not always at the moment we desire. But always according to His perfect wisdom. Years continued to pass quietly. Isaac became a man. Another generation began. God's covenant continued exactly as He had promised. Every promise remained secure. Every word spoken by the Lord continued unfolding through history. Eventually, Abraham's earthly journey came to its peaceful end. He had walked with God through many seasons. Times of waiting. Times of blessing. Moments of uncertainty. moments of great joy. Looking back across his life, one truth remained beautifully clear. God had been faithful through every chapter. Perhaps tonight, as you quietly reflect upon your own journey, you can also remember the many ways God has gently cared for you. Some blessings arrived exactly when you needed them. Some prayers were answered in ways you did not expect. Some difficult seasons quietly shaped your faith. Even moments that once seemed confusing may now reveal God's loving hand. His faithfulness stretches across every generation. The same God who walked with Adam in the garden, who protected Noah through the flood, who placed the rainbow in the sky, who guided Abraham beneath countless stars, is the same God who watches over you tonight. He has never abandoned his people. His love has never failed. His mercy has never ended. As this peaceful time together gently comes to a close, allow your breathing to become even slower. Feel the quietness around you. Imagine lying beneath a clear night sky. The stars shine peacefully overhead. A gentle breeze carries the fragrance of fresh grass. The world has become wonderfully still. Every anxious thought drifts away. Every burden becomes lighter. Every heartbeat rests securely in the loving hands of the Creator. You do not need to carry tomorrow tonight. God is already there. You do not need to fear the unknown. He sees every step before you take it. You do not need to stay awake holding every concern. His eyes never close. His care never sleeps. As Scripture gently reminds us, He who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. So rest peacefully. Sleep confidently. The Lord is your shepherd. He watches over you through the quiet hours of the night. He surrounds you with His peace. He fills your heart with hope. And He welcomes you into His perfect rest. Before we quietly say goodnight, thank you for spending this peaceful time with the Gentles of Bible. If these relaxing Bible stories have helped calm your heart and prepare you for restful sleep, we would be honored to continue this journey with you. Please take a quiet moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss future evenings filled with gentle Bible stories, peaceful prayers, comforting scriptures, and calming narrations designed to help you rest in God's presence. If tonight's story brought peace to your heart, consider sharing it with someone who may also need comfort, hope, or a restful night's sleep. You are always welcome here. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May His face shine upon you and give you peace. May His loving presence surround your home throughout this night. Sleep peacefully. Rest deeply. And may God's unfailing love remain with you until the morning light gently welcomes a brand new day. Good night.